Thank you for having me. Some of you recognize my voice as the one that kicks you out of the grill on Friday and Saturday nights. And you are correct, this microphone is ornamental. My initial knee-jerk reaction to hearing failing forward was, the road to success is paved with failure. Well, so is the road to failure. Job, you lied to me.
So is our technology.
Right? So is the road to failure. So it's probably more accurate to say that all roads are paved with some sort of failure. Okay. Got it. All right. You may be able to detect an accent, but I am from the South, specifically Texas. So when I say that my success story sounds a lot like the Beverly Hillbillies, I am being literal, or at least reasonable facsimile. They didn't actually discover oil on my grandmother's property, but they did discover it near her property, which means they wanted to be able to frack on my grandmother's property. Granny Isla, who actually just passed away a few months ago at 102, was already 92 and not particularly interested in changing tax brackets. So she divided up the value of her oil lease and cut checks to all of her grandchildren. Although a check for $17,500 wasn't life-changing, it did give me options. So, I bought a piece of crap truck off of Craigslist. Now, only I can call her a piece of crap. Anyone else calls Maggie a piece of crap and we will exchange words. She's named Maggie after a family friend's beloved pet dog who passed away that year. She is a 1983 Chevy box truck, and the reason I say piece of crap, for example, the state of Texas deems her a classic for Texas vehicle registration purposes, which is a very polite way of saying would not pass inspection otherwise. When I first drove her into my mechanic to do her a tune-up, he said, "I don't know how this truck drove in here." Her flywheel was cracked, the fuel pump was missing. Turns out it was inside of her gas tank like some sort of helpful tumor. The exhaust system was Swiss cheese, and her floorboards, yes, at some point the floor of this truck was replaced by wooden boards, were currently being devoured by termites. But because I became her proud owner for the bargain price of $1,500, what's a new floor? Over the next few weeks, we installed a kitchen. Oh, too far. In the next few weeks, we installed a kitchen, and I quit my job, which was a terrible idea. The entire first year we were in business, I didn't make enough money to pay myself. And so, I think I figured it out. I have to point it at the computer. That one. So to pay my bills, I had to work for a local food delivery company called Favor. And Favor does play a role in this story. So, being charming AF, I immediately booked a catering, and almost immediately after that, the transmission on the truck broke. So, despite owning my own food truck, I found myself having to rent a food truck to fulfill my obligations. When I arrived and greeted the brides, I desperately hoped that they did not notice that I not only showed up with a completely different truck, but that it was a high school band bus converted into a food truck. I went to smooth things over, which wasn't entirely necessary. These clients were a dream. I just explained what happened and told them that if I had to bring it to you in my hands, you were going to have delicious food at your wedding. The rest of the event went great. Both women left us glowing reviews. Crisis averted. For a time. Luckily, that new transmission came with a warranty, so that when it broke 2 more times, we were able to replace it for free. The engine, however, when that broke, I had to go back to Granny Isla, that thankfully was in a position to save my business, and suddenly Maggie was sitting on a 454 engine that still couldn't go over 55 miles an hour, but she could climb a mountain if we needed her to. The exhaust system we finally stopped patching piece by piece, and instead ran tiny pipes right out the back 2 tires instead of the full length of the truck. The commercial kitchen that I rented was not just in a bad part of town, it was in the worst part of town. The generator we mounted to the frame of the truck for security purposes, and they stole it anyway. So they literally had to pull up with a pit crew just to unbolt it, least of all carry it off. But from that we learned, and instead of getting another big generator that had to be mounted to the frame, we got 2 inverter generators that were smaller, very quiet, could be combined to produce just as much energy. And at the end of the night, we just put them inside of the truck where they'd be safe. I say safe, because we also had to replace the ceiling vents with diamond plating, because someone managed to shimmy through the hole and pass out whatever would fit, like our fryer baskets. Cannot have anything nice. Yeah. All right. But despite all the mechanical debacles, we were able to get running, and I also became a seasoned veteran of the Austin, Texas Health Department, which can easily be described as the 7th level of hell. The first time that I went, I researched and I researched and I researched to make sure that I would be ready. And I showed up with all of my paperwork in a file folder, and the woman with too much power called me inside and said, "Give me your application." "Here you are, thank you so much." I gave her my application. "Ma'am, do you own a restaurant?" "No, I'm here for a mobile food permit." "Ma'am, do you own a restaurant?" "No, I'm renting a commercial kitchen. Is that what you're asking me?" "No, ma'am, I'm asking you if you own a restaurant, because if you don't, then you need a central preparation facility contract, and I don't see one here." "Sorry, seems like you could have just said that." "I have my rent agreement with my commercial kitchen that will be used as my central preparation facility. Will that do?" "No, ma'am. Take back your forms. Here is your central preparation facility contract. Go get this filled out and come back on Thursday. Oh, I forgot to mention, the Austin Health Department for the Mobile Food Division only operates on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 a.m. till 11 a.m. Sounds made up, I know. So take this form, get it filled out, and come back on Thursday. "Well, can I just fill it out and get back in line?" "No, ma'am, this form needs to be notarized, so you will not be able to be back in time during business hours." "Right. See you on Thursday." I did come back on Thursday, and long story short, I still had to come back on Tuesday, because although I got health inspected, the fire marshal was out that day. And because you use propane, you're also going to need to be inspected by the fire marshal. Did we not tell you that you need a certified plumber to inspect the system before he will even approve it? So, despite all of these hardships, I eventually got better at the Austin, Texas Health Department, but every single year they did add new hurdles that made it more and more difficult, and all you could do was pray that it was something that could be fixed on site. One year they told me that the cabinet, oh, it's on the other side, my bad, the cabinet that I keep my propane tank in wasn't vented properly. This cabinet on this truck passed inspection last year. Ma'am, I ended up standing there and drilled holes in the door until the inspector was satisfied. But my friend Chris, of Urban Cowboy, he was told that his water tank was no longer big enough, even though that truck with that water tank had passed inspection the year before, because the frame of his tiny little bus wouldn't support a larger food truck. They had to mount one on the roof. That could not be fixed on site. I was curious to see what I had missed. Got it, thank you. I was curious to see what I had missed over the last few years, and it only has gotten worse. But these are my favorite things I wanted to point out. Mobile units shall not use electricity from a nearby structure. Lots of venues allow food trucks to plug in to prevent noise pollution from their generator, so that sucks. No excessive use of extension cords. Excessive is upsettingly subjective. Propane cylinders shall not be located. I should have pointed at you, Job. On rear bumpers, which means the Middlebury food truck went past inspection in Austin, FYI. On exterior sides of vehicle or roofs, below the lowest part of the vehicle frame, inside improperly vented or unvented trunks or beds of vehicles, inside passenger compartments of vehicles, on ground. Now you're just being condescending. So, not all, oh wait. So, the most insulting thing the health department ever did to me while I was working in Austin, Texas, they actually showed up while we were vending lunch to an Austin company. Ma'am, do you have a Travis County permit? This office is located outside of Austin city limits. Their address is Austin, Texas. Ma'am, that may be, but it doesn't change the fact that they are operating outside of Austin city limits. I pushed back, made her show me on her map where that office building was in fact 200 feet outside of Austin city limits. If we'd been on the other side of the parking lot, we would have been fine. Sounds made up. I know. She proceeded to rip my food permit out of the window, told me I would need to stop vending immediately. I would not be able to vend again until I went and got my Travis County permit on Tuesday, because Austin, Texas is the county seat of Travis County. So I needed to go get my new Travis County permit from the same awful woman in the awful office, thus prolonging Maggie and Jennifer's journey through hell. Not all travels on the road to success are quite so character building. I knew that to be successful we would need to book regular gigs in order to pay the bills while we built up our catering business. I had seen food trucks park outside of office buildings, like the one that was 200 feet outside of Austin city limits. I would do that too. So I started by pounding the pavement. I would go to big office complexes, walk inside, and talk to the person in charge. Oh, how silly that was. If there was a person behind a desk inside of that large office building, they might know the name of a decision maker, but they couldn't set up a meeting or get me in front of them in any way, and they certainly didn't want to try. So after a full year of banging on doors, I made it in, and then it was cake. So all those giant office complexes in Austin, Texas are all managed by the same 4 or 5 management companies, and they use food trucks as a selling point. So when they're trying to lease new office space, if your company moves here, you'll have a private bathroom on each floor, use of a fitness center on 12, and different food trucks out every day. They literally book you 5 days a week. It was amazing. I was able to pay myself, finally. Yeah, just saying it made me feel better, and it's not even real anymore. And so, all this time, still, Maggie is just rattling apart. It's giving an unhealthy level of anxiety every single catering because she's so very unreliable. Back then, we were doing lots of brewery and distillery gigs on the weekend, which is a great way to make money when you don't have a catering booked. And that would be the dream. Buy a reliable truck, and then have a permanent place for Maggie to plug in, which Austin won't even let you do anymore, and have her just be a permanent location 7 days a week. I chose the brewery home that I wanted for her based on their seasonal beer called Impeach. That's how long ago that was. And we found a reasonably used vehicle at Penske, diesel engine, 2013, only 80,000 miles. And get this, walnut floors. Oh, that's the brewery picture. There it is. So this is Rookie. We named her Rookie after my sister Heather's beloved dog who passed away that year. It is a thing now, FYI, as I am very superstitious. The Middlebury food truck is named Foxy Lady after Dr. Cave's beloved pet who passed away that year. And so Foxy Lady will be operating in the fall. Very sorry for all the delays. And with a kitchen going into Rookie, we could now find a permanent home for Maggie. So I found the brewery. We brought Maggie in for a test run, and I called in every favor I had. If I ever baked you a birthday cake, babysat your kid, cooked you a meal because you were sick, helped you break up with someone, helped you hook up with someone. If I ever did a thing that made you go, that Jenny, I cannot believe she did that. You will be at Friends and Allies on Saturday, November. I don't know what day it was. You will pay money for beer. You will say how delicious the food is, or you will reap the whirlwind. When we got the gig, of course we got the gig. Shortly thereafter, a cidery moved in next door, a wedding venue to our back, and, remember Favor? I had a permanent location now. I contacted the people at Favor, and you could get the ginger armadillo food delivered to your house. And now I needed a full-time staff. Enter Avi Stevens, or Avi Star if you're fancy. The younger, faster version of me. I call her Jenny 2.0, right down to the ginger locks and tattoos. When we moved from Vermont, we gave her our car, and it wasn't enough. Avi's amazing. I'm sending her a copy of this when we're done. So with Avi and the rest of the crew signing on, I found us actually another layer of income. I found a company that would let us do in-office caterings. So we gave them a menu, set pricing, they added a fee, and they literally booked us at in-office caterings. So we catered for Rooster Teeth. We catered for Troublemaker Studios. You can Google those guys if you want to. But what was neat about this is it was a completely attached strain of income to the rest of the business. We delivered this food in our cars. We didn't even need the food truck. So we now had a permanent food truck location operating 7 days a week with home delivery. We had a reliable mobile vehicle for caterings on the weekend and regular office gigs Monday through Friday. And we had an in-office catering system for booking us. We didn't have to lift a finger, we just showed up with the food. Albie and I were working 7 days a week, 10-hour days, surviving on sugar-free Red Bull, and just drunk on creative fulfillment. But nothing lasts forever. Even the Mona Lisa is falling apart. That's at Rooster Teeth. My husband got a job at Middlebury College, asked me to marry him, said I could adopt a dog, so I'm here. This is Pumpkin. Shortly after adopting Pumpkin, I got a part-time job in the catering department here so that I could help Avi manage from afar. I would fly home for weddings in South by Southwest, but for the most part, it was just Avi. And that's when 2 employees left at the same time, very abruptly, and we made the difficult decision, although lucky, stupid COVID, to break up the band. So Maggie went to Chicago and sells food with my husband's aunt and uncle. Rookie is parked in my driveway, just sleeping. Albie went on to manage Voodoo Donuts in downtown Austin, Texas, and eventually got promoted to where she helped them open their store in Houston, Texas, before COVID hit. I actually tried to get a moving stipend to have Avi come here and cook with me at the grill. It hasn't happened. Probably for the best. Middlebury is too small for 2 Jennies. I went to work full-time at the grill, helped them open their first food truck. And again, Foxy Lady will be vending full-time this fall. I apologize to my seniors. Right? And there's a lot I do not miss about being a small business owner. But it's very difficult to go from making all the decisions to basically none of the decisions. And when they started looking for a new food truck, I genuinely wanted to be a part of the process. Didn't work out that way. When the food truck pulled up and my boss took me outside to look at it, does that generator run that whole food truck? Nope. Could tell by looking at it. But that's okay. I know what to do. Thank you for having me.